Good morning, teacher and classmates. My group and I are going to explain about financial planning. Um, the members of my group are Jersey Choque, Montserrat Gonzalez, John Cruz, and myself, Gabriela Salles. Okay, first of all, we're going to talk about the difference between finance and personal finance. Finance considers the flow of money from one place to another, and personal finances consider your money and what you plan to do with it as it flows and out of your possession. Okay, to get started the financial planning life cycle, we have to ask ourselves the following question. How will my financial plans change over the course of my life? So life divides into three stages, each of which is characterized by different life events. For that, there are recommendations for financial planning. In stage one, the focus is on building wealth. In stage two, the focus shifts to the process of preserving and increasing the wealth that one has accumulated and continues to accumulate. And in stage three, the focus turns to the process of living on, and if it's possible, continuing to grow. Hmm. Okay, when we start financial planning, it's important to take into account the career we choose and find a good job. So financial planning begins in the individual's early 20s, the age at which most people choose a career, both the sort of work they want to do during their income generating years and the kind of lifestyle they want to live in the process. Uh, we know that the college is a good investment of money and time, but also we know that it's expensive. So if we don't have the resources to, we can apply scholarships, um, or we can find a job. In adult life, the better your education, the more promising your financial future. Um, and finally, another thing to keep in mind to start financial planning is finding a good job. Uh, uh, to find a job, the people working there can be a help, tremendous help to you as in your job search, but most of the work has to be done by you. When we start looking for a job, we have to write a resume and a cover letter. After that, the next step is to create a list of companies you would like to work for. And finally, and the most important, is to choose a job. You have to analyze the salary, but also the benefits and the opportunities to grow in that job. Okay, so it's turn of my another. It's turn. Eh, le doy la palabra a mi compañera Montserrat.
Time is money. Next, compute interest. The interest generally is a debt period to the initial capital, and and so interest ready general previously. In this way, value is created not only in the initial capital, but the previously generated. Interest is now also responsible for generating new interest. In other words, in the interest is accumulate to generate more interest. Next, um, the temporary value of money is since money can produce a profit and the share interest return its investment over a period of time. It is important to record that money unit and reason to some future they does not produce as much profit as that monetary unit in the present. The, the, the relation between interest and time is with light to the concept on the temporary value of money. In copy arguing that money also has time, Bewley says the purchasing power of the monetary unit varies but time. There being periods of the inflation, the amount of goods that can be purchased for given amount of money decreases on the purchasing time is carried further into the future. And important in is even more important to element the concept of the time by of money to the fact that it has earning power. Any future referring to the time value of money, knowledge of the period, methods of computing interest is necessary of other determined with sentence. The real feed of the time value of money will accompany alternate group of action. Next. Uh, Analyze the beauty of starting every year saving plans. Not only does other let saving today start and interest, sooner that is filled tomorrow it can also ultimate make tap more money in the lost run. That is, the sooner you leave, the interest will be greater year after year without having to make a financial struggle through life. Le paso la palabra a mi compañero John.
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, class. It's my turn to explain the final planning process. Step 1. Evaluating your current financing situation. Just now, are you doing finance speaking? You should ask yourself this question every now and then, and it should centrally be your starting point when you decide to initiate a more or less formal final plan. The first step in addressing this question is calling and analyzing the records of what you how and what you want and the planning and feel counting down the results. Your personal assets consist of what you know. Your personal liabilities are what you know, your obligations to various creditors, big and small. Preparing your network statement. Your network um, 14. Accounting term for your wealth is difference between your assets and your living. Thus, the formula for determining net worth is assets, living, and net worth. Cash flow step is your college cash flow statement. As you can see, Joe's income, his cash inflows, money coming in, is derived from two sources: student loans and income from a part-time job. His expenditures, cash outflows, and money gone out fall into several categories: housing, food, transportation, personal and health care, recreation and entertainment, education, insurance, savings, and other expenses. To find out just net cash flow, we subtract his expenditures from his income. $2,500 menos 2,300, $25,700 menos 25,300 nos da igual 400. Joe has been able to maintain positive cash flow for the years in the Agosto 1 to Agosto 31 de 2008, but his counting is close. Moreover, he is in the black only because on the inflows from student loans, income tax, and you'll recall from his net worth statement. He's also not current liability. We are, however, will to give Joe the benefit and about. Though he is incurring the hidden cost of an education, he is willing to commit himself to the bad and will assume to careful spending because he regards education as investment that will pay off the future. Step 2. Set short-term, intermediate term, and long-term financial goals. He now from just cash flow statement that despite his limited income, he feels that he can save $1,200 a year. He knows, of course, that it makes sense to have some cash in reverse in case of emergency, car repairs, medical needs, and so forth. But he also knows that putting away some of his money, probably each week, he is developing and habit that he'll need if he hopes to reach his left-term finance goals. Step 3. Develop a budget and use it to evaluate financial performance. Once he has reviewed his cash flow statement, Joe has a much better idea of what cash flow in for the year that in August 31, 2008, and a much better idea of where if when in flow out, how he can ask himself whether he's satisfied with his annual inflow and outflow, and if he's anything like most people, he'll want to make some change, perhaps to increase his income, to cut back of his expenditures, or if possible, but the first step in making this change is drawn up personal boutique, a document that in the same the circles is of his income and expenditure for the coming year, along with the relevant money amounts for each. A few words about saving just desire to meet the second category of consumption goals, future goals, suits, education for his kids, and comfortable retirement for himself and his wife. Um, Accounts for the appearance of his on the one item tan a glass Monsey misclassified among all the others, namely and saving. In other words, here's now John went about budgeting his money for the year audit. August 31, 2008, 1. He calculates income, total cash inflows from his student loan and his part-time job, $27,500. 2. He is subtracted from his total income to target consumption goals, credit to park payments de 1,200 and savings de $400. 3. He allocated what was left, $24,100, to his remaining consumption goals, housing, $7,000, food, $3,500, education, $6,600, and so forth. Thank you. I pass the floor to partner Jersey Nixon.
Good morning, teacher and classmates. Then I will present A House is Not a Piggy Bank, a few lessons from the subprime crisis. In recent years, studies show that a large part of American citizens are not saving money for different reasons. In most of the surveys, the interviews affirm the majority of their expense under the reason that they would not enjoy it once they reach their age. What? You could say they want to live at the moment, actually. At the same time, more studies reveal that retired people save less than $100,000. When can compromise your lifestyles in later years? Disposing of savings. This data on this graph shows that the savings amounts of the years 2006 and 2008 reached until the time of the Great Depression. But despite the data, citizens continue to spend until the cash is empty. Why? Making an assumption, an individual, apart from having personal savings, also stocks and mortgage. Stocks and houses are depreciable assets. They gain value over time, the latter involving mortgage. High risk rates and adjustable rate mortgage. Talking a little history. In 2005, it is still possible to obtain loans on house, but high risk. Because it consists in borrowers who do not qualify for the interest rates due to income or more risk factors. Income level, employment status, credit history, ability to make only a very low down payment, and interest has between 8 and 10%. Loans very great for CD in the United States. American lenders had issued an 1.3 trillion in mortgage like his in his year. The meltdown. The 2000 international financial crisis was largely a product of the US high risk or low quality mortgage derivatives crisis The cause were already mentioned above, but don't to repeat the road of the Great Depression. The mortgage crisis was solved by state intervention and use of money from the public sector. Some lessons from the Supreme Crisis. For starters, it is recommended. Lesson 1. Not all mortgages are created equal. What? By a fixed rate mortgage is recommended for the payment. Lesson 2. There will always be risk, especially in the financial, commercial, and management market, since it is unpredictable. But even more, it is always good to have an additional reserve. And the lesson 3 is not all income is equally available. It varies mainly in access to credit. A finance advisor is also recommended in once start in this market of the houses. Thank you very much for your attention.